Hello, it's me here. It's Suzanne, live on Facebook. Can you hear me? Is there anybody out there? Hello. Let's gonna see if I can get my, I've got one viewer. Two viewers. One of you must be Kathy Jo. Hi. Welcome. I want to know which one of my welcome signs you like best. Hi, Kathy Jo. I see you pop up now. Oh, and you're logged in as Quietfire Design. How special. That's just fine. Now, I just need to find this on my iPad. Sometimes it takes a while to pop up, and then I know I'm there and you're there. Nope, not seeing it yet. I really am here. I'm back from Hawaii, and yes, I am tanned. I probably need some cream on my hands too. You'll have to forgive me. But yeah, happy to be back. And that reminds me that I should thank Kathy Jo very much for standing in for the last few weeks for me. I really appreciate that. I hope you enjoyed, I'm sure you enjoyed what she was doing. She was using Quietfire stamps, and you can still find those Facebook Lives on the Quietfire Design Facebook page. And I will get those on to the Quietfire Design. There I am. Okay. I'm in business. But I have to turn. There I am. Okay. Mute. There we go. You have to mute my iPad because it's not synced with what I'm doing in real life. So hi, everybody. Thanks for dropping in. The green one, Sharon. Yeah, that's the Susan Tierney Coburn poinsettia. Okay, so we got a few people here. That's good. And I can monitor what's happening. And anybody else want to weigh in on which is their favorite? Oh, dark blue background, Kathy Jo. Yeah, nice contrast. Hi, Margie. Oh, hi, Joy. Oh, the pink is wonderful. That's this one, yes. So if you're a Susan Tierney Coburn flower fan, then that's the one you're going to love best. And I think it's time for me to make a new one, and I will, but just not quite yet. It's been kind of a busy week. Okay, let me put these things aside and say hi, and thanks again to Kathy Jo for standing in for the last 2 weeks. And I'm back. And you want to see what we're making today. Ta-da! It's beautiful and bright and glitzy. And just let me see if I can get that to... Sometimes on camera, something that's glitzy like glitter or foil will kind of look blurred. So I'm hoping that this shows up all right. But yeah, so what are we going to use for making this? We are going to use the Elizabeth Craft Design Celebrate. I guess you could have guessed that. And the big balloon. And the big balloon, and it's not the surprise part of it. That was just to give you an idea what to do with it. But that's what the big balloon die looks like. And it has this extra little bit that's the string that you can use. I decided not to do that today. And the other things that we're using are products from 3L Scrapbook Adhesives. And the main thing we're going to be using is the 3D foam creative sheets. And I have solved the problem with those. And I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. There is no problem. That's what it boils down to. And the other thing we're using is the 3D foam squares, which have turned into my favorite. I used to use the foam on a roll. Maybe I've gotten lazy or something, but these are being my favorites right now. And this is the black package. It actually comes in white, and I think it probably comes in a mix. And and the 3D foam creative sheets, I meant to check that. This is the size that I have, but I think they come in larger sheets. Okay, so let me put that aside. And then the thing that kind of started this all is, can I get this all in here? The metallic transfer foil sheets. And I swear, I saw these at Creativation and it just drew my eye straight across the hall. And I went, oh, I've got to check those out. So these are the metallic transfer foil sheets from Scrapbook Adhesives. And this is the holographic, it's the holographic colors that pulled me across the room. And the metallic transfer foil sheets are the flat ones. And let me just put that aside because we're not actually using those today, but we are going to use this. And let me show you what's inside. So let me put that aside so you can you still see that? Kind of tucked over there. This is going to throw the camera into a tizzy, but there's the gold, and this is kind of a chunky design, and same with this silver. It's a bit chunkier. Now this I haven't tried. I have to try this. This looks like something left over from the 60s, but what would I know about that? I'm far too young. And then there's this finer pattern, which I really like in the gold and silver. And if you tilt it up, I think it kind of takes on whatever color it's close to. So, okay, let me just put that away for now. And the other thing I used on this card is, instead of the little piece of that little die cut, which is the tie, I used wax linen thread, and I like wax linen thread in particular. You could use ribbon or any thread really. I kind of like the wax linen thread because it retains its shape and it doesn't flop, and it's for bookbinding. And I do have it on my site. I don't sell it by the roll anymore, but I do sell it by the yard. So, and it comes in some glorious colors. Okay, so first step, do I need to talk about anything else? I'll talk a little bit about links to Quietfire Creations and Quietfire Digital and all that at the end of the broadcast, so we can keep in touch. I do these live broadcasts, or Kathy Jo and I do these live broadcasts every Thursday at 4 p.m. And 4 p.m., that's West Coast time. Kathy Jo is on the East Coast, and she is, what time, Kathy Jo? It's much later. Okay, we've talked about the products we're using. The blue cardstock is a Coordinations Royal, pretty simple color. And I'm also using Marsh, is one of the other colors I'm using of Coordinations. And the designer paper is Elizabeth Craft Designs Moda Scrap, and it's Relax in the Garden. And I kind of like this because of the balloons, and it kind of all went together. So, and I always think that if you're using gold or you're using a metallic, it's really good to have like a lot of contrast. So if you put gold or silver on a dark background, then it really, really pops. Yeah, and we're using bone folder really would be just for making your card base. We're going to use the awl, but primarily the tweezers today as a tool. So I changed over to the Marsh Coordinations cardstock, because I'll show you the card base that I used. It's out of the same package as the balloons, but because I'm a bear of very little brain, I made this a 5x7 card and I used up most of the sheet of paper, so I couldn't make a second one just like it. So this is from one of the other pattern papers in that collection, and it has very similar colors. And I got smart and I made it a smaller card, which is totally possible. Now, I made this die so that you could use it on an A2 card, but somewhere in the translation it got made a little bigger, and I don't know what quite happened. So if you're putting this on, and this is an A2 card, so what's the dimensions on that? 5.5 by 4.25 inches. So half a sheet of 8.5 by 11. And you just have to trim a little bit off one side to make it fit. Sorry about that. It was supposed to fit. I blew it. So anyways, die cut the balloon. That's easy. We can do that. Let's put this aside now. Now, the next step is to cut Celebrate. And let me show you what the 3D foam sheets look like. So this package has a white and a black. And I actually, for the Celebrate card here, I used the black. But I'm going to use the white for the broadcast because I think it will show up a bit better on camera. So they come in this size. I'm pretty sure they come in a bigger size too, and I got to score some of those because that will be really useful. Okay, I'll put that one aside and show you one that I have die cut. So I just put the die on there and I die cut it. And then what you can do is pop out the die. Gotten a bit sticky there. It looks like that. But leave the die cut inside the die. That's the big tip. Because if you take it out, and I did with this one, but I took all the counter spaces out first, then it's easy to distort it. Because the release paper on either side is not quite firm enough to keep it from stretching. So, and we don't want it to stretch. I sure don't want it to stretch. So, and it can stretch out of shape quite easily. This one's pretty well braced. Like the flourishes I designed so that the letters are braced so the whole thing doesn't twist. I try really hard to do that. But anyways, it can be done, and that's pulled right out. But as soon as I take the release paper off the back, it's going to lose some of its firmness. So leave it inside the die. And then pull out all the counter spaces. And I pulled out a whole bunch because you don't want to sit there and watch me pull out counter spaces. And see, they just use your tweezers and pull them out. And from the back side, I was using, usually when I have paper in there, I just use the awl and push it out. But it seems to work much better with the tweezers from the back. And that's all you have to do. Takes a little while, a little bit of patience. Oh, there's a tiny one right there. And there, just pull it out. And when you have all those counter spaces pulled out, you're ready for the next step. This is so easy. It's embarrassing, guys. Any questions so far? If you are just joining us, we're using products from Scrapbook Adhesives today. Foam, what is it? 3D foam creative sheets. And that's what we've die cut right now. Okay, we have our balloon. And we have our die cut still embedded in the die so that it doesn't get messed up. Now, have I got all those little pieces? It's not too late to pull them out. Said she. I should know, shouldn't I? I designed this. And okay, the release paper is still on the die cut, so you can move it around wherever. So that's kind of where I want it positioned. We're not going to get complicated this week. We're not going to use the T-square and make sure it's straight, because it's totally not. And there we have, we'll put it something like that. Now all you have to do is grab the release paper that's still on there, keep the die cut inside the die still, and just pull the release paper off. And then, are you ready for it? I was just so pleased when I found this. Place the die cut down where you want it and press. Now this wouldn't work with just double-sided tape, because the foam has dimension, right? So it's kind of sticking up. And now all I'm going to do is pull the die right off. And look at that, perfect. Now, of course, there's still release paper on this side, because I die cut the whole thing with really all the release paper on. I'm just going to pull off some of these. Actually, they may come off when I pull the other release paper off. But there it is. Nice. So if you have to go away and walk the dog, feed the kids, whatever, then, you know, this isn't sticky, so you're still safe. Now, the next step is to take some of the transfer foil, and I've cut a little bit of this one out. So transfer foil is pretty cool stuff if you've never worked with it, and it needs a sticky surface, and you work with it so that the pretty side is up, not the boring side, the pretty side. You may think this is pretty too, and that's fine, but this is the really pretty side. So we're just going to put that aside for a sec. Make sure it's big enough to cover the die cut. And then I'm going to take and grab the release paper. Yeah, watch. There it is. And this is the release paper on the top. It probably would be a good idea if I patted this down a bit, but I think I probably did that. Oh no, this isn't the one I'm thinking of. I have an extra one. I patted it down. So just carefully pull that off. I don't think you're going to pull the foam die cut off. But you might, especially on the bottom of that flourish, which is a bit of a delicate part of the die cut. You see that all right? Any questions? I'll have a look in a sec. There we go. Okay, super sticky. Now, are you ready for it? Take the transfer foil and lay it over top and rub. And make sure you rub all the parts. Now you could probably use a brayer. I have one handy here. I think I'm just going to rub with my fingers. So just not too hard, just firm pressure. And you know, if you've got the die cut handy, the packaging handy, you can see where you have to press. You can certainly feel where you have to press. Well, that should be good. And then, da 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 da. How cool is that? Love that. Oh, and this is the time that I see I didn't take out all the, oh no, maybe I did. Anyways, oh, I don't know. For some reason the foil came off there. That's okay. I just pulled it out and blew it away. And now, if some of that you didn't press down, it's super sticky, so it should stick everywhere. But you can take the bits of this transfer foil that that hasn't come off. You can see if I put that down there, you can see where the transfer foil has stuck to the adhesive. And we're just going to go around and maybe catch some of the edges that didn't get caught. And there you have it. Pretty glitzy. So you could do this with this design with a happy birthday, happy anniversary, all sorts of things. I think this is a great card for a guy. What do you think? So the trick is to keep your die cut, the foam, inside the die so it doesn't distort. Distortion, that's the word I want. So there you have that. And then you can keep pressing some more foil around the edges if you want. I did this one with black and it didn't seem to well, it's a different foil too. That one was the chunky one, and this is the bit more refined, glittery one. I like the pebbly one. This one, I thought it would be too busy and it would break up the letters, but no, it's fascinating. I really like that. So hang on a sec. Let me. Oh yes. Oh, you should see this in person. It's so cool. It doesn't take much to please me, right? And then you've got your card base. And you're just going to put that right on there. And all as I'm doing is using my Scrapbook Adhesives 3D foam squares and plopping those around in various spots. Because you could do it flat, but I always think it's got more presence. The card has more presence and importance if it is dimensional. And then I'm just going to pull the backs of these off. Like I say, I used to use the tape, but I've gotten lazy. I like these squares a lot. And then I'm just going to line that up. So this is the card base folded. Use a bone folder to fold it. And then burnish down the fold is always a good idea, even if you use some other tool to make the fold. And there we go. I think I've got that lined up. I hope so. I don't want to get right up on top of it, but there. And then the last thing would be to tie some thread around the bottom. So what do you think? Which one do you like better? But if you're into making smaller cards, it's certainly doable. So that's pretty much it. Any questions about it? So basically we took the die cut and the die, cut the foam, left the foam in the die cut, took out all the counter spaces, took the release paper off the back of the die cut and put it straight down onto the surface that we were going to work on, basically on here. Take off the top release paper, put the foil down, and there you have it. So I hope you try that out, because I got to get some of those big sheets because I see a lot of these in my future. So again, we're using Scrapbook Adhesives products. And I think Kathy Jo is probably giving you the links to their website. I hope I didn't see that go by, but thanks very much, Kathy Jo, for being on the other end. Oh, I should show you something else. I almost forgot. Bad Suzanne. Here's a card I did a couple of years ago, actually. Now this, gosh, that is the on the foam. And then this is my, what's it called? The flourished Christmas ornament, something like that. How quickly we forget. But Scrapbook Adhesives, so I did that technique with my own die, but Scrapbook Adhesives also has this, and I think they still have this kit, the 3D foam holiday kit. They have quite a lot of pre-cut shapes that you can use on your cards. And it comes with lots of foam in it, and they're all pre-cut shapes. And it comes with the foil too. So, and that is going to be what I use for that. Although I might have used a snowflake set for that, and I can't remember. It was a couple of years ago. So, yeah, so lots of fun. And lots of glitz and lots of pop. They got dimension happening. And I'll be back here again next Thursday at 4 o'clock. And thanks again to Kathy Jo and to Beth at Scrapbook Adhesives for sharing the foil with me and being so helpful when I've taught card classes. And come visit us on Quietfire Creations. It's our blog, and we post there usually 3 to 4 times a week. And there's also Quietfire Digital, which is where I share, or the design team, shares the digital creations that I do for Silhouette America. We're usually once a week on the Elizabeth Craft Design blog, and you can find me on Facebook. Right here. And we also have the Suzanne Cannon fan group now, which I would love you to come and share the creations you've made using Quietfire products, whether it's dies, stencils, stamps, digital files, fonts, anything. I'm happy to see whatever you do, because everybody's got a different take on it, and it's just so much fun to see what people do with things. You can sign up for my newsletter. Don't worry, I won't bombard you with information. And I have a new category on my website that's called Letters Live, and it's products that I have used in these Facebook broadcasts. And keep in mind that all my prices are in Canadian dollars. So if you think it's it looks like a lot of money compared to American dollars, well, yeah, it kind of does look that way, but it's virtually the same when you do the translation. Okay, and visit us on our YouTube channel too. These all end up there eventually, all the Facebook Lives. So that's it. Any questions? Oh, Margie's multitasking, making dinner. Yes, right. What time zone is Margie in? Let's see, any other questions? Can I scroll back through these? Oh yeah, you could do the balloon in the foil, and whoa, wouldn't that pop? That would make an awesome card. Okay. So thanks very much for coming, everybody. Oh, Chicago time. Okay. I've never been to Chicago. Do I need to go to Chicago, Margie? My husband goes there fairly frequently. Okay, I'll let you go and say aloha. And call for the pool boy. No, no pool boy anymore. Darn. Okay, well, thanks again for coming, and happy creating, and we'll see you here next Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Bye for now.